Okay, so yeah, we'll continue on with this. All right, so spawn rotate. So it's going to do enemy, then the position, then the rotation, um, and bam. And so that's going to actually make them. And then what we'll do after that is we're going to do a yield so that it waits a certain amount of time, and better if you know how to spell yield. And we're going to say wait for 4 seconds, and this is going to be the spawn wait value that we will spawn wait value that we will dictate up here earlier. Okay. Oh, all right, hang on a second. Okay. So yeah, yield wait for seconds, so it's going to wait that spawn time, and then it's going to run that loop again, as long as it's underneath less than the total number of enemies allowed. Okay. Good. All right, so that's pretty good. Now we're going to basically hook up stuff that needs to be hooked up. So this will be outside of this for loop here. All right. And so we're going to do a variable for timer text. Oops, text. And that's going to be a text object. All right. And we're going to do another variable for the game over text. Game over text. And that will obviously also be text. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the game object. Game object, because we just need to be able to turn it on. We're not going to necessarily have to change what's in it in that case. Okay, and then we'll do a variable for a restart button, and that will be also a game object, if I know how to spell. Okay, and we're going to do a public variable, and it needs to be public because it's inside of the start. So in order to access things outside of a function, it needs to be public. That means it's universal, and that's just going to be time. All right, so this is going to be our clock, more or less. Okay, and we're going to do another variable that's just going to be the shot object. Okay, and this is just going to hold the game object that gets shot. All right, so that all goes inside of there. Now inside of our update, we're going to have to do the things that deal with the inputs, because we always do that based off of the gameplay frame. So inside of here, we're going to add an if statement. So we're going to say if, and we're going to do an input dot get button. So if a button is pressed and the button we want to see is pressed is fire 1, right? So that's one of those inputs that are built into them. Okay, if that's pressed, it's going to run this bit of code. Okay. Okay, so it's going to be get component dot. First, I guess I'm going to have it, regardless of whether it hits anything or does anything, it's always going to play the audio file of it being shot. So it's going to be audio source. Okay, so that's the component, which I have not actually attached yet. So dot play. All right, bam. And then we're going to do a variable. Oh, that's just to make it attached, I guess. So variable, then hit. And we're going to set that to a raycast hit. Okay, that's the type that it is. All right, and then this bit of code will actually make it. So variable ray, I'm sorry, that should be lowercase, ray is going to be equal to camera dot main, and then screen point to ray. Okay, so on the screen, where is it? It's going to be the input. So it's going to see where the mouse is. Input.mouse position. Okay. Now inside of that, we're going to have another if statement. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to say, get the component audio source. I just need to get that so that when we do shoot, that it's not going to play it, but it's just it's going to hook it up, right? Oh wait a minute, it is going to play it. Never mind. So it's going to play the thing, and then it's going to. I made a variable for hit that's arraycast, and okay. So good. Now we're going to do if physics.raycast, and then it's going to be ray and hit. Okay, so if basically if the ray hits something, or if it's shot out, if the ray exists, then what it's going to do is it's going to I'm going to set an if in here. So let's go a little more, tab, if, maybe I should back this up actually. If hit.collider is not equal to null, meaning that it hit something, okay? That it hit something, I want it to do this little bit here. And it's going to be a hit dot rigid body dot add force vector 3 dot down, okay, times 50. So basically what this is actually going to do is it's going to if you hit something, it's going to shoot that downwards, which is kind of what I want it to do. All right, and that should be good. So let me just make sure that I got all my ifs in a row. See, that one goes to that one, so I missed one. There should be one here as well. Okay, and that looks about right. Okay, good. Now, there's a lot of code. Okay, so let's do the next little bit here. So we're going to do a fixed update. All right, so function. So this is every physics frame. Fixed update. We're not going to send it any parameters. Okay. So basically what we need to do is keep track of time. So we're going to do time plus equals time dot delta time. Okay. So the idea behind this is that the time is always going to equal like what the new time is. It's going to add time on it, so the plus equals, and then time dot delta time is like physical time, real time, not play time. Okay. Then we're going to do timer text. I'm sorry, that's not what it's called. Remember before we have the timer text up here, timer text. Okay. And dot text, so the text component of that is going to be, or not component, but variable, is going to be time alive. Okay. Plus math f dot round to int, because I don't want to have like, otherwise it's gonna be like a decimal point, it'll be crazy. So this will actually round it to the closest real number, whole number, time. Okay, and that will be that, and that's all I need. Okay, so that will set the time. All right. All right. Okay, so I'm going to all right, so this next bit of code is going to be for to hold the life, basically, to figure out how much that's going to be. So we're going to do a variable called damage amount, and basically every time that it gets hit, this is going to say how much that's worth. So damage amount, it's going to be a float, and we're going to set that equal, probably should be an int really, but we're going to set it equal to 10. All right, we're going to do a variable for total life. All right, and that's also going to be a float. and that's going to be set to 100. And we're going to have another variable that basically holds the life text so that we can update it and show what that is. Okay, so that's just a text element. All right, and then we're going to have another variable that is an int variable I that is going to be an int, and we're going to set that equal to 0. And basically what this is for is that it just checks to see if this has already been run. Okay, if life text has been functioned. Okay, so this is all actually for this next function that we're going to make. We're going to make a unique one. Okay, so we're going to make a function life text. We're going to send it no parameters. Okay. All right, and every time this is run, we're going to do an I plus plus. Okay, and actually that should be like this, I plus plus. So basically every time this function will get called, and we'll call it later on, it will add 1 to that I. Okay. Basically, it just makes it so that we don't affect the text until actually it's been called. Okay. So, all right. So we're going to say after that, if I is greater than 1, if I is greater than 1, we're going to say that the total life is minus is equal to minus or equal to the damage amount. All right, and the life text is going to be equal to life plus total life. Okay. Now, let's just back this up a little. Now, else, if that's not true, I want it to run this bit of code. Okay. It's going to say if total life is less than or equal to 0. Okay, so if it's basically you have no more life, I want it to basically call, I want it to call a function that we haven't made yet, called end game, and we will send that, and that's a function. Okay, and that's that. All right, so now we're going to make another function, and this is going to basically be the end game. So what happens when you do lose? Okay, so I'll just do another one after this, and this will be first we're going to do some variables for it. So variable game over, and that's going to be a game object. That's the that text game object, because we want that to pop up. And we're going to do a variable restart game object, variable final score, and that's going to be a text object because we need to be able to change the text of that. All right, and then we'll do a function, and this one's going to be called end game. Okay, and inside of this we are going to do some stuff. So we're going to do game over dot set active. So you remember we turned it off earlier up there. Set active, and it's a boolean, and we're going to set it to true. So we're going to turn it on. Basically, that's what that does. We're also going to do final score dot text is equal to game over, and then we're going to do this bit of code, and what this does is actually make a new line.